everybody. Out here with the Bronco today. I'll give you a little rundown here, or try and give you a little rundown. I told you I'd talk about the engine on it. When I bought it, the gentleman said that he was under the assumption that it had a blown head gasket. I have run every test, well, not every test. I haven't done a compression test, I'm afraid to, but I have checked all the spark plugs, and amazingly enough, all the spark plugs look like they're working extremely well. They're very clean. It idles rough. I'll explain to you what I'm doing with that, but let's stick to the blown head gasket. There's no oil in the water. There's no water in the oil. That's a good sign. That was the first things I checked. What I just did is I just went to AutoZone, and you can rent a chemical tester for the radiator. There's plenty of videos out there on how to do it. I'm not going to show you, but what I will try and show you is the fluid after 2 minutes, after testing 2 minutes with the radiator, and I'll explain to you how that test is done. Okay, this is the tester. You can get it at you can rent it at AutoZone, and it's a typical chemical tester. You have to get the fluid. The fluid is blue, and I won't bore you with all this. But what it amounts to is you warm up the truck, you stick this in the radiator cap after you've drained some of the coolant out. You put the fluid in up to the line. For 2 minutes, you suck air through that filter inside there. And if the fluid turns yellow or green, you have compression into the radiator. I pumped this for a solid 2 minutes, and as you can see, it hasn't changed color whatsoever, which really relieves me. I know that there's guys that say this test isn't that accurate, but certainly this would do something. I'm going to eventually take it to the back and put it at the exhaust pipe and suck some air through it and see if it does change color. But in any event, this makes me extremely happy because I didn't see any evidence of any water anywhere, and this just kind of confirms that I don't have a head gasket problem. Now my problem is I need to figure out where I do have a problem with all my antifreeze going. So I also rented a leak detector. I haven't gotten that far yet, but I'll post a video at some point in time after I get done doing that. Just to quickly go over, I told you I'd tell you a little bit about the engine. It was a solid grease hole in here. I cleaned it up, and it turns out that all of the fluid was coming from the pitman arm of the steering box down there. So I took the steering box off, put new hoses on it. The pump seems to be okay and not leaking. What you see here is antifreeze. And the pitman arm is not leaking any longer. I got a ton of grease. That would be 3 tons of grease off the bottom of this truck. And apparently that thing had been leaking for quite some time. I haven't gotten all the play out of the steering wheel yet, but the power steering functions marvelously now. The air conditioner doesn't work. That remains to be seen. I believe there's a hole in the condenser up here, but that's for another day as well. It idles just a little bit rough. I could start it up, but I don't think I will for this video because this is just going to be short. But the map sensor is right there, and I hear that that's a lot of trouble with the idling on these. I've already cleaned the throttle body, and for today we'll just leave it at that. Okay, gang, that's all I'm going to show you today, and all we know so far about the motor in here. I'll keep you updated. Thanks for watching the channel.